Bird on Bears fans, Breeze Nation, what is good? We are back in the building for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. As you can see, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Stefan the Don in the building with us today for this episode.
Yo,
Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. We do talk Chicago Bears daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Bears, how Bears fans talk, man. So make sure that you get in tune with us on today's episode, man. Gotta break down the question that is really surrounding this team and has surrounded this team forever. Can the Chicago Bears maintain the offensive success that we have seen? Because we've seen flashes in the pan from this team, but haven't really seen that continued success. Can the Bears maintain success overall? And then also got to look at a little bit of the fact that our Chicago Bears, for once, not only are not the laughing stock of the NFL, but also seem to be coming out on the winning end of a lot of these moves here that they're trying to make. So we'll break that down as well. And also got to look into, with 8 games left, what are our expectations around this team? We'll finish it off talking a little bit of Chicago Bulls. Make sure that you guys are tuned in with us for all of that. Appreciate y'all for showing love. As I said, man, we got Steph in the building for today's episode. What's going on with you, my boy? How you feeling, man?
hey man, I'm good. You know, my fantasy team got the dub, so
That's all you worried about here.
big set. Right now. Besides the Giants, like on the basketball side of things, I really like it. It's not really that much for me to be excited about right now. I mean, we got game last night.
Yeah. You have some tough times on the Miami side.
It's tough.
Yeah, you have
It's
some
tough
tough
right
times on the Miami side.
Tough time.
You'll be all right. I don't really care. I mean, no, listen. I mean, here's where let's start it off, right? Let's jump into this because
What's up?
kind of like even what you were talking about, right? That sustained success that you haven't seen from some of your teams this year. Because my fantasy team has not had it these last 3 weeks. I tell you that right now. It's looking bad. Lamar did not get me my my 34 that I needed.
He didn't get you to 30.
He did not. He didn't even get me to 20, honestly, which kind of irritated. What a douchebag. But nah, he's a good guy. But no, when you're looking at what we're seeing on the field, right? We see Justin Fields finally turning the corner. We're seeing 4 weeks of the Chicago Bears having an offense that looks like a real offense, 3 weeks at a minimum, where they're putting up a good amount of points, putting up 30 or 29 plus points per game out here. And so I think the question that comes in on this one, right, is where do you see this offense going? Is this offense sustainable for the Bears? What do you think we're going to see from this team the rest of this season as it's going down? I mean, what do you expect for those of y'all that can't tell?
Don't get starstruck like bro did.
Right. You know what I mean? I mean, what's your expectation around this Bears team? Do you think this offense is going to be sustainable?
Honestly, I do. And the reason why I said that is because of this. The Bears already have a top run game. We know that they made the changes to the offensive line, so hopefully that's going to be solidified for the rest of the season. I mean, but when you look at it, getting Chase Claypool, even them getting him in the game for X amount of snaps last week, kind of it kind of frees up everybody else to kind of do their thing and do what they gotta do. And the crazy part about it is the more Claypool gets into this offense, the better you're gonna see a Darnell Mooney or Dante Pettis. But also this is gonna help out Herbert. This is gonna help out Montgomery. I mean, I think I seen Sam Acho talking about it on TikTok. The one play where he kind of he take is it Sam? No, it's Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. I was like, why the heck is Sam Acho talking about it?
Yeah. He was bringing out a play. I think on the touchdown run where
are they related?
Yeah, they are.
Are they really?
Yeah, no, they are. Low key, I found that out on all the smoke.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah, all the smoke. Yeah, they're actually related, bro.
I chose a rough last name, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I seen them breaking down a play where Justin takes off for the touchdown run, and he's like, "Yo, they got these guys in the box. The middle linebackers trying to spy." But I think the difference with it was, he was kind of saying that he's expecting Justin to take off with his legs, and the fact that you kind of brought this up last night during the Bulls game, Justin can actually throw the football. So
he actually can. Yeah, that's the difference maker
that's
there.
kind of gonna freeze him. So you losing the defender, and the thing about it is, he stands in that pocket and delivers those dots. Now you looking at those possibly 28 to 30, 32 point games, 35 point games that you're looking at. My only gripe is that later on, like going into the next year, if they can get a vet receiver, I'm just talking about a decent vet receiver that show them the ropes. Hey, these guys will definitely be on the move.
As the pettiest man alive joining the chat out of nowhere. He's been in the background for like 20 minutes. Y'all just don't know it. What's going on?
What jersey you got on today?
God. Let me be great. All right.
I think that's an
I'd like
Iverson
to be
one.
great.
I'd
I'd like
one
to be
live.
great. You could have said I got a Cubs jersey on. I would have believed you.
I'm trying to find things today. And I'm hot like my fantasy team is good. We had a game last night. All right. I'm trying to like.
Hey man, I mean,
It's
I'm just
lost me
saying
the
you could always
process
just
right now.
support the Breeze and just wear some Breeze merch, so you ain't not out here false flagging every time we on live.
That is a fact.
I gotta get some.
Hey, kid.
I gotta get the new
There
joint.
is a bull on the Breeze merch though.
I gotta get.
But no,
I
I mean,
get.
kid, since you jumped in the chat out of nowhere,
No,
do
you
you
know
think
what?
this offensive success is sustainable that we're seeing from the Chicago Bears?
I want to thank Ringo because I honestly, you don't normally do this on Restream, so it's not easy for me to hop on when I have the time. I literally just finished a meeting like 10 minutes ago. Saw that was live. It's like, hey, let's hop on with my bros. So I appreciate Ringo for setting that up.
Yep.
All in all, to be honest with you, my biggest thing is this. What's been my biggest gripe with Pose up until this point?
Didn't go get offensive talent.
Didn't go get receivers. Didn't go when you say offensive tackle.
No offensive talent.
Offensive talent. We thought we had it. Velas, I don't know what happened with that.
hey, they hated him real quick.
I think Velas is a wrap. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I do too, bro. I think they hated him real quick.
Hey, Velas is a wrap.
I feel
Velas
like
is a wrap. I mean,
hey, bro, you're 35. You don't have time to not be good.
Hey, so I was really big on that. I was really big on, hey, we have this young QB that we want to see, thrive. Yeah. You can only thrive if you get them targets. It don't matter how good the incompletion looks if it's still incomplete.
No, I will say this though, right? Like the yes and no, right? Because even that game last night, or even that game on Sunday where I looked at it, you can clearly see that Justin Fields throws a dot to Equanimeous St. Brown. Should have been a completion, should have been a first down, right? Those are the plays that I'm looking at, and I'm like, okay, but if that's to a talented receiver. Now, I think that's where I look at Luke Getsy a little bit, and it's probably because Chase Claypool only had been there for a day, but
he's only doing basic. He was
doing basic stuff, wasn't doing a ton of stuff. But that's where I look at Luke Getsy, and I'm like, yeah, let's not put Equanimeous St. Brown in that position again. Yeah. That needs to be either Darnell Mooney or Chase Claypool moving forward.
Claypool showed himself to be really, valuable in the sense of for our big targets, when we really needed to convert. I mean, we got robbed. Let's be honest, we got robbed.
Yeah.
Who did he go to? He wasn't Darnell Mooney. It was Claypool. And Claypool, despite the fact being double covered, had a good opportunity to catch the ball if it wasn't for the PI. Like let's be honest, he got wrapped up and pulled back.
He couldn't have. I saw a couple people. I saw Keyshawn Johnson saying you need to be bigger than them. You need to go up and still just get that ball. And I'm just like, I get it, right? But that was like literally the DB saying,
he bear hugged my man's waist and pulled him back.
That was literally the DB saying, I'm finna get called for a PI on this.
Like, you're not gonna get this completion. I'm gonna take this.
You're not gonna get this. I'm gonna take this penalty, and they just didn't throw the flag, right? So I think that's the thing, right? And I'll say this: the one thing for me that I think really leads to the Bears continuing to be able to have offensive success is that they still understand their identity, right? Like we saw Justin Fields throw the most passes we've seen him throw this season last week. I believe he threw 28 passes last week. And to me, right, like that's a situation where you're just kind of trying to figure out, okay, we need to see what Claypool can do. We need to add this in with Mooney. Let's try and throw the ball a little bit more. But the Bears still ran the ball a ton. David Montgomery had his worst day, but he still got 14 rush attempts. Khalil Herbert, I believe, added another 12 in there. The Bears still understand their identity. So they're not going all in on Justin Fields even now. Right? Like, yes, they're letting him do more. Yes, he's playing better. He's still going, but they still understand, right? Our offensive line can't block for this dude in pass pro. Our offensive line can't keep this guy protected in pass pro. We still got to run the ball. That still has to be our bread and butter. The thing is that Miami literally was just like, we're going to sell out for the run. So I think that it was more of a situation where they were sniffing out what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
And so Justin Fields had to do something more than that, and he was able to do that. So
if you look
I think that's the reason that the offense's success for me would be sustainable.
If you look at what Claypool does for us, now Claypool is not, he's not on the level of. You could argue he's not on the level of, who's the gentleman you compared him to that you got killed for on TikTok?
Justin
I said he's a Justin Jefferson level talent. Yeah.
Right? He's not Justin Jefferson, but that doesn't mean he's not a good wide receiver who can be a good threat that you got to pay attention to. Yeah. And you knew that because he got double teamed. Yeah. They knew he was going to get that ball. So, like, what does that do? I think you all were already hinting towards this, and I don't want to be repetitive, but, what does that do for everyone else? What is that? Now Mooney was getting doubled for a while because they knew that was the only target he has. Now that frees him up. Like, so now we have those opportunities. Now we go into, you have to make the play.
Yeah.
And that St. Brown has to come down with that ball. Yeah. It's right. On point. It's in stride. You got to catch that ball. You got to convert that. Like, all of that now opens us up to now the point where we're not looking at just a run for 175 yards and breaking NFL records in regular season history. He broke a regular season history stat. I want you to understand. It was the last time you heard anybody do that. That wasn't 30 years ago. Devin Hester. Devin Hester. But
didn't break it here though.
Well, offensively, when's the last time you saw that happen on offense?
Probably.
It's been a while. Sweetness would be the last time we had
Walter. Probably, I would think. Yeah, I would think Walter. I wouldn't think anybody else.
I say all that to say, like, we're trending in the right direction, and now you look at ultimately what he gave up to get Claypool. Was that a good move? He gave up a second-round pick. Yeah, it was good because now you have someone who's a proven receiver. No, he may not be 1,000-yard receiver, but he's a proven receiver who you could put in, and he can actually create space, and he can actually, make plays for your team, and he can help Justin develop. That's what you wanted. You didn't want to bring another rookie. It's like all my criticism for him is like, hey, we're willing to deal these picks. We have a ton of picks, and we got money. I'm happy. Like I mentioned before, I don't care what the record is as long as we can see progression. We went from the first 3 weeks of throwing ducks and going for under 100 yards to now Justin just playing his game, playing free. And you can't tell me that he doesn't look like the emergence of I don't like the analogy, but he looks like Jalen Hurts to me now. And Jalen Hurts is the top QB in today's league.
Jalen Hurts.
I'm not gonna say
it was murdering before the season.
The
hated seeing Jalen Hurts.
I hate it. But now but I like what the Eagles did.
It shows the difference. It shows what putting talent around somebody can do.
Man, I don't like Tua, but look at how Tua looked.
Tua.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had to pull back on that. I was like, you know what? He's delivering that ball pretty well.
It don't look like it, but it's getting there.
It's getting there. Go ahead, Ringo.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, and I said this. I said this on my TikTok. Stefana Down One. Go follow that Bears and Bulls content. Go. So basically, what it is, right? I'm gonna challenge you on that Claypool 1,000 yards because of the simple fact. When I now said it on my TikTok. Who's been throwing him the entire time? Like,
well, I mean,
A-Rob has 1,000 yards too.
No, but I'm saying though, like, he's had
A-Rob was the number one though. You got to think
the
1 year where Chase would have been the number one, he got old. No, Juju was still there. This is the first year without Juju, and he got Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's never really. I mean, my point is, I don't think he's ever really had a shot, and I think the cool thing about it, right? Yeah. That Poles did, he's like, yeah, we're gonna get Justin help. I think that Claypool can develop into a 1,000-yard receiver, and on top of that, the thing that Claypool does really, really well that people kind of sleep on is little blocks.
Yeah.
There's little blocks.
Yeah.
Like up
I didn't
until
realize
that
how big
point,
of a
I
receiver he
mean,
was.
the Steelers
I didn't realize
were a run heavy team.
Yeah.
He's 6'4".
So,
I didn't realize he was 6'4", what, 215, 220?
bro,
No, I knew how big he was, but like,
that's a big dude.
you know what it is, right? You know what it is when I hear height, because here's the thing: I'm 6 foot. When you hear height, you be like, "Oh, he's a little bigger than me." But then when you see him stand next to other large men, you're like, "No, that's a tall dude, 6'4". What am I really 6 foot? That's when you start questioning your own height. When you see that,
The person
I need to put some more.
The person who got me the most, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but Odell Beckham,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize was my height.
Oh yeah.
But
Odell
Beckham's bigger.
On the inverse, Odell Beckham's a short dude.
He's a short dude, but he looks bigger. Like he carries his weight. Like he looks wider too. I was
that's
man.
That's because every time you see him,
it's just all
on the screen,
it's all about how he uses his body though. Like he's still like even with the injuries. Even with the injuries, he's still one of the better receivers in the league.
I would go pick him up.
He still got some talent, but he going to a contender.
I wouldn't.
He already got a ring.
I think he wants a 3-year deal. I wouldn't pick him up just because he wants to go to a contender. So technically, this would be a wasted year for him.
Yeah, I ain't giving you a 3-year deal.
I would say this: you sometimes, and I'm learning that this is true in football, but it's definitely true in basketball. Sometimes you sign a talent for what they do for your locker room and what they do for your certain cores. You know, like I would go get Odell to help our young receivers because he runs beautiful routes. Beautiful routes, you know, and he has hands. I would do it for that reason alone.
No, absolutely, and that's what I
imagine
what
Claypool can learn from him. You know, in the sense of
I
how
think
to run beautiful routes.
The hard part about it is, right, like while I agree with you that he's an excellent receiver, he's an excellent route runner, he does a lot of good things.
Short routes too. He kills those short routes.
Really good in football, legit. And you hear a lot of the older guys talk about this a lot more than a lot of the younger guys. In football, it's literally, oh, he's down, I keep moving, because of how many people get hurt, how many and literally it's like when you're down, right? Like you're still a part of the team, but not really, because you're trying to rehab, you're trying to get yourself back right so that you can get back on the team. And they will move, they just keep moving, right? So I think that's the part where it's like his injury history scares me more than anything. Sure. But I think the one thing that I'm looking at with this Bears team right now is what they have now offensively and how they're going to be able to continue to move forward with the talent that's in the room. There's so much talent to me that I think is
untapped.
Yes, because I don't think Justin's tapped into it. Right. And what I mean to say is that, right, like I think Darnell Mooney's probably a better receiver than we've seen because we haven't seen Justin be able to drop back and throw. I think Claypool's a better receiver than we've seen because we haven't seen Justin be able to drop back and throw. And even just seeing, right, those short routes, little things like that, those are good things to see. Those are like extensions of the run. And you've got Claypool, who's a really hard runner. But I think those two guys is something to me that you can see even more of that. And so as we're moving ahead throughout the season, Claypool's going to get a lot more used to the system. Mooney's now not just getting focused on because he's the only dude on the team that can catch a football, right? Mm-hmm. What do you guys, what's your outlook for the rest of this season? Because we got 8 games left. I'm not going to lie to you. And I've been optimistic on the Bears the entire time. I said that the Bears could be a 9-win team coming into this season. I still see a lot of wins, and I think over this next month, I'm going to have to be toweling Bears fans off. Just be like, no, calm down. Remember, hey, no, we're not that team. We're not that guy. We're not that guy. We are not him just yet. Because when you look at the rest of it, I mean, just the rest of this month, there's 3 games this month the Bears could win out. The Jets are playing really well. Jets are 6-3. They're playing really well.
I got
so maybe you lose there, but you got the Lions, you got the Falcons, you got the Jets.
If I could go first on it,
go ahead, bro.
The Lions beating Green Bay, huge boost for them. I would be cautious to think that that's a laydown game. Falcons, I think that's a dub. Jets, surprisingly, I don't know what has happened with the Jets organization. Salute to them, but they
Smart
have
coach.
You got a
emerged.
defense and a run game.
They got a defense.
And a run game.
And the one thing we don't have right now is a good defense, and their offense is starting to click a little bit too.
But
we're not bad defensively. Don't get me wrong, but we sold
we pretty bad.
We sold our defense off right now to get younger, to clear up space and stuff like that. We did what we needed to do.
Yes.
And so I'm not expecting. Hey, listen, the last couple of games, the Cowboys put up 50 points on us. The Dolphins put up 35.
Yeah, almost 50, bro.
Almost 50. 49.
Big difference between 49 and 50. Big difference.
One inch means a lot.
Don't go down as 50 though.
1 inch means a lot. I got you. But anyway, so like I'm not expecting us to win these games. I'm expecting us to see development and scheme come together. And that's where I want to tell Bears fans, be patient.
But I think here's the thing, right? Like, and this is the part that gets me, and
the Lions have an offense.
It's gotten me excited throughout the entire season. Has there been a step back this season? We haven't seen, and this is probably the first time in my Bears fandom life, like, we haven't seen a step back.
We've stepped back.
Not really. We had a slow start.
No, not really. I mean, but I said at
Justin
the
didn't have a big offensive day where we were like, he's got it. And then the next week he put up like 40 passing yards and just couldn't run the football. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're seeing continue through the season that the Bears continue to move in the right direction. Maybe defensively, we could say the Bears have stepped back a little bit because the defense, I guess, has gotten worse because of the pieces we've traded off. But they're continuing to move forward. And that's why, like, as I look at the next 8 games, right? I mean, heck, we get Green Bay again. You know, like, we got Lions, Falcons, Jets. We get Green Bay again, who apparently everybody there hates Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers hates everybody there. So that's a great relationship to go up against. Eagles and Bills, I'm still listening.
Eagles, Bills, and Vikings. We're gonna. I think I'm
gonna tell you this. Right,
I've had the Vikings beating us all season.
Yeah, but even with those 4, right? That's still the Bears finishing out with 4 more wins. That's a 7-10 season.
I think it's gonna be 6, if that. Maybe 5. The reason why I say that, I'm not even trying to, like, you know, dish y'all or anything, but like the Lions I give y'all, but the Falcons can actually win the division. Like that, like that's like an actual thing. So it just no, like literally, like it looks like
I give y'all.
Like Tampa, I know Tampa just won, but Tampa looks bad. Tampa looks bad.
But the Vikings don't look good either.
Whoa.
No, the Vikings.
I'm not the Vikings. I'm sorry, not the Vikings. I tweaked. The Falcons don't look good either.
I'm about to say,
right, but somebody gotta win the division. So I mean, like they're gonna get up for their game. They're gonna get up for their game.
But I mean, here's the thing.
It's at their place.
But I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and you know this. Somebody's got to win. But
come on, we know. Hey, 5.
Your division has typically been the division where, like, somebody wins the division with 7 wins.
I get that.
Which means you lost at least 8 to 10 games, depending on what year you were in, without a schedule change.
I get that.
So, like, I think that's the part where I'm like, yeah, like the Falcons, somebody's got to win in that situation. But my outlook going through the rest of this season is just like, I don't see a game in here outside of, I mean, realistically to me, the Bills game. I think the Bills game is the one game that I look at where I'm like, Justin's probably going to have a tough day that day. And if he shows me something that day, crown him. Crown him. That boy is going to be able to.
I got 4 games where we take a L.
Which I'm fine with, right? But
Jets,
but
Eagles,
there's no
Bills,
game.
Vikings.
There's no game in
5.
here. There's no game in here that the Bears can't compete in. Outside of the Bills. I think the Bills is the one game we're not going to be able to compete.
You leaving off the Eagles, like.
Well,
yeah,
I don't think we'll beat the Eagles, but I think that we can compete with the Eagles.
We put up that last part. My bad.
I said I don't think that we can beat the Eagles, but I think that we can compete with the Eagles, right? I think the Bills game is just a game where The Bills have one of the best defenses in the
Nah,
NFL. You know what they're
I
gonna do.
can't see it.
The Bills also
Eagles
have
one of the best defenses. Vikings have one of the best
facts.
defenses.
Like,
These are
and
all
then
top 10
like
defenses.
you don't got one, you don't got two, but you got three
Top 10
DBs right now.
defenses.
And CJ Gardner Johnson is leading the league in interceptions. Darius Slade shutting down one side of the field, and
I'm not-
Did you just say? Did you not say Sauce? Did you say his full name?
He didn't say Sauce.
No,
I'm talking about you.
didn't say Sauce.
You thought that?
No.
You could have called that man
I
Sauce.
never brought up Sauce one time. I
Oh.
said CJ Gardner Johnson.
Oh, I got you.
Darius Slade shutting down one side of the field, and Maddox is right now like their DBs are playing at a top tier level right now.
No, I'm not saying that. But I think
he's not saying that we're going to win. He's saying compete.
I'm more worried about teams
I
that
got you.
can destroy the offensive line and kill Justin with speed up front, and the Bills scare me more than the Eagles do with that.
I'll be honest with you. I don't want to see Justin run more than my running backs.
No,
for the rest of it. And if you ask me if there was a step back,
now it's not
that's
designed.
the step back for me.
It's not designed though.
I get it, but the step back for me is I applaud what he's doing. He still had 3 TDs. It's still great. But I saw Justin on a run more than I saw him actually on a, using his arm. And that's something that we might not have a good opportunity to showcase in the majority of these next couple of games. And that to me will be where maybe we take a step back. And so if we are able to see him be effective, not necessarily win, but be effective, he has time in the pocket. He can use his legs to create, the opportunities to make a play using his arm, not necessarily just totally dependent on his legs. Now I feel better about it. And I know it's like, hey, this is really realistically his first season under a new organization, new scheme, give it some time. But you also want to, like, we all know what tends to happen with QBs who use their legs more than not. Look at how KC is using Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was very run heavy his first couple years. Now they make him sit in the pocket. They want him to use his arm more. So it's like I want to see him make that progression.
The difference is with Justin Fields that I've seen with most of these guys is it's very Lamar Jackson-esque, where we can say that we can say the same thing about Lamar. That Lamar didn't get hit.
Tell me I'm consistent though. You know how I feel about Lamar.
No, but I think Justin also can throw the ball. That's the thing that we saw in this game, right? Like Justin can pass. Lamar literally couldn't throw.
But then,
he was awful at throwing the football.
Justin got receivers. Got receivers.
Listen, I don't want him to limit his talent. I want him to develop.
You have to. I think this is the thing with Justin, right? Like it's about with quarterbacks that run. The thing that you fear is them getting hit. Justin's not getting hit. Justin ran for over 100 yards on 3 plays, and nobody touched him the entire time, right? I think that's the thing, right? Where you saw him get hit a couple of times, but you're seeing his awareness grow. You're seeing his ability to. There's one play we're coming off the left side. I thought Justin was about to die. I thought it was over. I was in the car. I was like, oh, it's over. He about to get crushed. And you saw him just duck out of it, step up, still keeping his eyes down the field, which tells me that he wants to throw the ball. It maybe just isn't anything down there. And then he's making a run. Then he's making his moves, right? And so for me, right, I look at the situation with the Bears over the next 8 weeks, and I'm saying that Justin Fields is going up against teams where, on paper, they should crush him. They should kill him. They should dominate him. But he's the one that is the game changer. He's the one that, because he should have got crushed versus the Dolphins.
Oh, that's true.
He should have been laying on. Bradley Chubb was coming at him all night long. He only got to him once.
Yeah. I think Kurt Warner did a really good job.
That's the game changer.
Yeah, Kurt Warner does a really good job breaking down film. I have no problem, shouting out where I get some of these ideas from, because the all 22 is not always available to us to readily see to make videos about. So Justin still has that issue where he's reading the play too long. He has to trust that the receiver's he has to throw it, which is why you see plays where he's using his legs too much. So it's not limiting his talent. I was kind of responding to a comment I saw. It's not limiting his talent. It's like, hey, the next level of you being an elite QB is you have to get that ball out. It's great that you are a great athlete and you can use your legs and you can make plays. That's great. but that's a short shelf life. What we see with Lamar Jackson, what he's doing, is an anomaly. It's happened twice in our lifetime.
Yeah, but I think
the other players we've seen it happen with, guess what? One of them is sitting there on the couch right now wondering why he ain't picked up by a team.
You know what though? I don't think
and he's an MVP.
I don't think that we can say that though, because we see guys who are using their legs every week now. We see guys that is a part of their game, and I think there's just a development, right? We want the finished product now with Justin Fields, and that's not going to happen over the next 10 years. It's just not, right? Like right now, he has the team where he has to get up and he has to use his legs. He has to get up and he has to run. Like the video, if you agree, there are moments where off of the left side, right? He's got a rookie left tackle trying to guard him. That rookie left tackle was going up against Bradley Chubb. That's not going to work. You're gonna lose. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that he lost every play, but you're gonna lose on that situation. So those are the moments where, to me, right, like, and as we look at the games that are coming up, I see opportunity, especially the Lions. That's opportunity, and they keep playing man defense for some reason, which Justin Fields can absolutely eat up. But like,
the Lions, both of the Lions games is a win.
I see that as a win. Like, I think Justin Fields is gonna have two of his best games of his career.
I hope so
in those games, because like
they don't have a defense.
The Lions defense don't even make sense.
They don't have a defense.
It doesn't even make sense, bro.
They're all clicking early. I don't know what happened.
You got rid of TJ.
You got rid of TJ Hawkinson. You just made a huge
in Minnesota.
Yeah, you just made a huge trade in the division, by the way. So you're basically like, we're going to see you
Minnesota. Thank you, Minnesota. Hey,
you know what I mean?
Like, on my fantasy team.
But I'm looking at, okay, the Lions game, they have no defense. The Falcons game, they barely have a defense. The Jets game, the Jets have a nice defense, but then that's where, okay, is Justin turning into that game change? Because to me, right, like the only thing that's working, like I'll use the New York Giants as an example. The Giants have been pretty good all season because they've had one dude that with one play could change the game. They've had one dude that with one cut, with one up the field, the game has changed. You know what I mean? That's what Justin Fields is becoming for the Chicago Bears. And so I don't view the Jets as a game that the Bears can't get. I think the Packers, I thought the Packers were going to beat us both times. They look doo-doo.
I thought we were going to split with the Packers. I thought we was going to split with my Minnesota. I think we're not going to split with Minnesota. It's okay to admit that a team has your number. No, it's just their time. It's just their time.
It's their division. You can have it right now. You can have it right now.
It's your time. Doesn't mean that you're going to be there consistently, but like I wouldn't be surprised if they made a deep playoff run, or even I think they have a good shot at a Super Bowl run. I really do, and I hope that they do it.
They so weird to me. Like I feel like the same way. I feel like in the NFC they have a shot at a deep run, but I also could absolutely see them getting eliminated in the first round just because Kirk shows and turns back into Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk might smoke it.
Like they've really gone from like we're going to be run heavy to we're going to put the ball on your arm, Kirk. So I could absolutely see both happening. He balling right now. Shout out to Kirk. Keep balling. Keep doing what you're doing. Go as far as you can. I don't hate y'all as much as I hate the Packers. I don't really care as much, or the Lions, really. Like the Vikings, I probably hate the Vikings least of all. Although I did hate y'all when y'all had Adrian Peterson, just because I knew he was going to set a record every time he came in the building. But, bro, Adrian Peterson, bro. I remember
seeing him as their top 3 running backs of all time. You smoke.
I remember seeing Adrian Peterson just walk in the stadium, and he was just staring. Man,
hey, would you pay him?
I said he's finna run for 150 yards. I think that man had 4 touchdowns that day. Yes, I would pay Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson came back from an ACL injury in like 7 months. Yeah, I'm paying Adrian Peterson.
There's only certain RBs he would pay in the history.
And put up 2,000 yards after he did it, bro.
Man's a beast.
Adrian Peterson was like, just put the knee in there. I'm out there. All right.
The full knee. You don't need
the full knee. Put the knee in there. I'm going out there 2,000 yards. All right, Adrian, it's yours, man. It's your world. Whose world is this? Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. If you have not done so, appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of The Daily Show, man. We do this Monday through Friday, 11 to 12. Your boys got a start date for the new gig, so These may be pre-recorded in the future, which means we might see more of Ringo and Kid on there because, then the jobs don't come looking for you and all that stuff. So good to see you guys tuning in and rocking with us, man. Appreciate you guys for showing love every single day. Here's an interesting thing, right? As we continue, still talking Bears, but kind of talking more general NFL here. For the first time in a long time, the Chicago Bears not only are not the laughing stock of the league, but seem to have made every single correct decision this offseason, throughout the season, on GM, on coaching, on players. And I say that because the Bears go find Luke Getsy. The Packers are in shambles. And you absolutely could have went out and got Nathaniel Hackett, who technically was the OC, and he looks awful. He looks like he can't figure out how to get Russell Wilson an offense. And Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer, more than likely.
Yep.
You've got the Colts, who just hired Jeff Saturday, who was on TV on Friday. And they were in a situation where you went out and you nabbed Matt Eberflus, who probably would have been next in line for a head coaching situation there. Does it speak something to you that seemingly from the top down, and again, this goes into stability, not just one season, not just the rest of the season, but for the future, that the Chicago Bears are moving into the right direction based on what we're seeing, not just that we aren't the laughing stock, but that almost every move that we've made outside of Velus Jones has kind of worked out for the Chicago Bears this season?
So I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna definitely say yeah, just because if you look at it, like I said, outside of Dayball and Eberflus, like the rest of the league is in outside of Dayball, Eberflus, and Miami.
Mike McDaniel or Mike not Mike McDaniels. What is that boy name? The one
name.
You know who he's talking about. Head coach in Miami.
Yeah,
moving.
You know. Anyway,
You know what he's talking about. Mike Jones? No.
Who? Nah. But outside of those three, everybody else looks like. Well, the Colts already started firing people. Josh McDaniels probably won't have a job after this season.
His name is Mike McDaniel. I was right.
And
I was
Mike
confused.
McDaniel. Yeah. Josh McDaniels probably won't have a job after this season.
Yeah.
And then even in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury, like there's no stability there. So if you look at it, really, this is a W. They keep moving in the right direction. And shout out to Poles because he's looking at it like this is an offensive league. I have to put talent around my young QB.
Yeah.
And me personally, I think they're just gonna build the defense through the draft. And who am I to say that they won't? Who are we to say that they won't get it right? Right? Like you already got Gordon who's coming along. Brisker looks like he's coming along. Jalen Johnson made a heck of a play on that third down because Waddle had him smoked. And he came back and got that deflection. So if you look at it, everything points to like you basically gonna have the best GM and the best coach for really the next couple years. If you look at it, like nobody will refute that probably outside of the Giants.
The best thing Poles did was to get a coach with competency. Right? If you look at how we started the season, he didn't have a coach that buckled under pressure. He had a coach that had a game plan, a development plan in place, and they stuck to it. And they made adjustments to allow Justin the opportunity to make plays and things of that nature while still trying to implement certain things. It's okay for us to admit that the first couple games were a disaster. They were. But look how easily we've forgotten about that once we saw Justin making plays and stuff like that.
I mean, we won the first couple of games. So I don't know if I say they were a disaster. I think
they were a disaster from execution standpoint. Like San Francisco was
the torrential downpour plays into that a little bit.
Yeah, but like we could go back on our very lives, and we live called some of those games, and the temperament was totally different. Now, even in a loss, I mean, hey, listen, when's the last time we had a team put 50 points on us? We was like, man, that's encouraging. Like it's the last time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
no, I do. I said I felt better, and I said I felt better about the loss to Dallas, where it was 49-29, than I did
You did with that?
I felt better about the loss to Dallas than I felt about the win versus Houston.
Because of how it happened, what we were able to see and stuff like that.
I guess.
But
I thought the win versus Houston was like a win is a win. Yes, I see some things that we're moving in the right direction, but we just almost got cooked by Houston.
A lot of that you have to look at it like, hey, we have. If you don't think that has something to do with coaching and just allowing your players to come into their own and stuff like that, that's a skill. People management is a skill. People get hired and paid really big money from a people management perspective, and a head coach has to do all of that. So that's what I like. He's managed that situation to the point where now look at the conversation we're having. Mm-hmm. Pose recognizing making the change that he did, he could have just sat on those picks and built completely through the draft. He said, "No, I'm gonna give my QB a target. Use one of those picks. Didn't sit on his hands. Made a play, and guess what? It actually was a play that Pat himself called out. Was like, hey, this would be a really good move if you pulled it off. Boom, a week later, it's done. It's not even a week later. It's like
a week, a day. It was like 6 hours,
which means it was already happening. So that again, real football guy making real football decisions. That's the best thing that the Bears organization has ever done. So from that perspective, everything is trending in the right direction. Everything it's just night and day from what we were. We're talking about our defense. We're going to lose because our defense is subpar right now because we sold our defense the last time we did that. It's a full rebuild.
There was never a last time because it never happened.
We're in a full rebuild.
By the time we sold on our defense, it was too old to be good.
Somebody in the chat the other day was like, hey, I'm nearly 50 years old. I've never seen the Bears do a complete rebuild. And this feels like a complete rebuild. That goes to show you something.
And it will be.
I can't say that. They did a complete rebuild with Pace. It just didn't work.
Hey.
They did a complete rebuild. Like they tore it down. Like we sucked. We got top picks. We had the second pick in the draft, and we picked Mitch.
So
I mean, listen, that'll set your back a little while.
but again, like even from what the fans see, like Chicago is a really tough place to play. But if they see that you're trending in the right direction, Chicago will rock with you. Chicago is much like Philly in that regard. They will rock with you till the wheels fall off until you start making dumb moves. And Post started off a little rocky, but there was a method to his madness. He stuck to his game plan. And now the whole city is rallying behind him because now we can see, all right, you believe in Justin. Look at what he's doing. You're getting him some targets. Look at what he's doing. We got all this money next season, and we got all these picks. All right, now we're in a position to actually be a contender in some way, shape, or form.
I think that's the part
he can do no wrong, realistically.
I was going to say real quick.
He hasn't done wrong. Let me say that.
How did he start off rocky to you?
I think that's the part that excites me, right? It's not that to me. It's not that he started off rocky. It's just that we didn't.
I was gonna say I don't think he has.
He didn't listen. We all sat here and we were like, you didn't pick a receiver. You clearly need a receiver.
Hey,
you didn't pick a receiver.
The biggest mistake he made was not getting those. Because you got to think about it. He traded a second round pick to the team that he had the opportunity to get one of their best receivers, who was a second round pick.
Yeah. And rightfully
so,
right?
Like shots at it.
You have to understand what the Chase Claypool trade is, right? The Chase Claypool trade is making up for the fact that Velus Jones right now is not good. I'm not saying he'll never be good. I'm not saying that he won't figure it out or something won't click inside of him. Like the video if you agree, right? But you make that trade because you didn't draft George Pickens. And you thought that Velus Jones was going to be there. Now, what I will say is that, right, while we didn't agree with the moves that Poles did make,
Gordon came out to be a good.
Gordon looks like he can play football. Brisker absolutely looks like he's going to be a all-pro at some point.
I was good on Brisker.
Brisker looking at how he's affecting Eddie Jackson standing next to him has now turned Eddie Jackson back into the player that we hoped he was going to be here under Ryan Pace, right? So I think that the thing with Poles is like, not that he got out to a rocky start, but it's the thing that gives me the most faith in the Bears moving forward, is that, which is crazy to say because I don't know if I've ever had just faith. Or maybe I've only moved off faith. Maybe that's really what it is. But that he made moves that we were like, hey, listen, it better work. And for the most part, those moves have worked.
The ones
for the
that didn't, he moved off.
A lot of the acquisitions that he made worked. And now Lucas Patrick, I think, is a big miss at this point because he's just been injured all season. Poles can't control that, but
yeah,
that's one where, right, like that was supposed to be your starting center. Now we got Sam Musfer in there instead. I would rather have Lucas Patrick, whatever it is, but
he's cut his losses quickly.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like we wanted immediate. I think more Bears fans than not wanted immediate results to see. Show me something that says that you were the right hire for Ryan from George McCaskey for the first time, and he didn't give us that. He said, "I've got a plan. I'm gonna follow my plan." Well, we don't like your plan. I really don't care. This is our plan. We're going to follow our plan. And now we're at week 8 of the season, right? Because remember, like with Ryan Pace, like the plan was 2-3 years. Like we're still in a rebuild here. The plan was 2-3 years. We're in week 8. We're in week 9 now, going into week 10. And we see that the plan, at least in this stage, is working. Now, here's the thing. He's still got to go out and make the right draft picks. He's still got to go out and find the right players. You still got to go out and pay the right players. You still got to go out and pay the offensive lineman to stand in front of Justin Fields and or draft them and make the right decision on that.
I really feel like he's so much for him to do. Picks. I really feel like those picks are trade capital for us to get some other play. I really do. Like the NFL was being like a lot like the NBA in that sense, that people are willing to deal talent but more now than they were in years past.
The teams that you see do that already have the young talent that they don't have to pay yet. That's why you build through the draft, because the salary cap ain't big enough for you to just pay everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Big as it is, it ain't big enough for you to be like, let's go buy a defense and an offense. You gotta pick which side you're gonna draft.
You look at the rumor reel and some of those things that really grew legs and had some real traction to it. There's some teams that are really looking to do some big moves and sell off some pieces. We are in a position to make some moves for those pieces, and that's a big thing for me.
Yeah,
you know, when we get rid of Mac, we pretty much get rid of our defense.
Got rid of your defense.
We knew was going to happen.
I mean, legit. No Akeem Hicks, no Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn's gone, Roquan Smith is gone.
All the good players that we had.
So everybody. I mean, really. I mean, who am I missing? Somebody else is gone. Oh well, no, we kept Vildor. Duke Shelley's gone,
but look at the amount of picks
your whole defense is gone. Yeah,
we have 9. We still have 9 to 10 picks, and we got $134 million.
Yep.
I know that we keep overstating that, and I don't want to overstate it, but like that's a really big deal when we already feel like we're getting some real traction with the team that we have. We can now do what the Bengals did and get an O-line for Justin if that's what it comes to. We still got a pick in the first round, and we're projected to pick an offensive lineman. And multiple, I did my research. We got multiple draft boards have us picking that kid from Northern, which I hope we do. Because
it was just funny that he was the one you doubled down on when you did, having never seen nothing about him.
I watched a little tape on him. I'm not going to sit there and make it seem like I'm a savant with college football. I am not. Here's the one thing that makes sense. We have a need. This kid seems to be the best in the draft at what that need is. He fits that mold. You draft that guy. If that guy doesn't work out, at least I can say as a fan, you drafted the best opportunity. You drafted the best guy to give us an opportunity to win. I'm not going to fault you for that.
But again, right, I think that's the thing, right? And that's the part where this part is not over with at all. Like Ryan Poles, halfway through the season, I love what we've seen from the Bears. I love Flus. I feel like the Bears are really in a good direction. I feel like they're moving in the right direction with the hires they've made, with the pieces they put in place. We've seen development. We've seen growth out of this team. We've seen those young pieces grow. But here's the thing, right? Like, I'm sure Jacksonville was saying a lot of those same things But maybe not actually. Last season was weird for Jacksonville because they had what's his name out there at the club. So maybe not. I'm sure Jacksonville was saying. I'm sure Jacksonville was coming into this season saying we spent all this money, we went out and got these weapons. This is our time to see the development from our young QB. This is the time to see our growth in Trevor Lawrence. This is the time that we're going to see the Jacksonville Jaguars start to make plays. And they haven't. We saw one game. Jacksonville is legit had one game where I looked at them and I was like, that looks like a good football team.
Stability.
Nah, they got
I'll
say they had about 3 games that they could have won. I mean, there's talent there, but I think with them the problem is just like, bro, the GM, like you can't tell me you had bread and settled on Christian Kirk. Like I still can't. Like
stability and the key
but the thing is,
Christian
Kirk was the best wide receiver on the market,
bro.
I mean, he's the best available.
And with that, like you didn't even need, like you could have. There was so many other things, bro. Like they could have waited, just because you already had the defensive. They already have a defense.
Yeah,
they could have just went out and just straight O-line like the Bengals did.
And that's the one thing.
Like, nah, Christian Kirk is definitely a number one.
But that's the problem. They tried to copy what the Bengals did. They tried to copy what the Bengals did, and instead of going, they got a couple O linemen, but they tried to copy what the Bengals did and go with a top wide receiver first, instead of giving Trevor Lawrence time to make decisions in what is also a new offense, what is also a new OC, what is also a new head coach in year 2 of the league. He's going through the same things Justin Fields is going through right now, but they spent money. They spent their money. They spent their picks.
Spent the money wrong.
Now
here's the thing. Wrong. That's why I say Ryan Poles got a long way to go.
That's all that is.
People are going to kill the QB for that. And look at what you just said. Look at all the stuff that's changing.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not killing Trevor.
And Trevor's actually having a decent season compared to his first season. Like, he's having a better season so far than he did last season. Last season he led. He had more INTs than TDs. That's a totally different thing now. Despite the fact that now when he plays bad, he plays bad. I was big on Trevor. I thought Trevor was the best QB in the draft.
I think Trevor's really good. I just think, like I said, they went the wrong way. Like, he's a franchise QB. I seriously think he's a franchise QB, but they definitely went the wrong way with that opportunity that they had with the money. You got to try to do something different.
Trevor's going to give you 38 to 4,000 yards this season with over 20 TDs. And then as a second-year QB, you can't tell me that's not good.
No, it is.
It is what it is.
The Jaguars, organization just sucks. The Jaguars legitimately just, and that's why I say with Poles, like, this is the easy part. Trading for Chase Claypool is the easy part. Trading away Robert Quinn, trading away Roquan Smith, and it may not seem easy. That's the easy part. You know what the thing is, like what we said with the Bulls, right? When the Bulls were going through their rebuild or retool or whatever they was calling it. I'm fine with you moving on from these pieces. But how do you replace them?
Yeah, you better be right.
You better be right. I'm fine with it. I believe in you. Guess what? I believed in Ryan Pace the same way. I'm fine with you making these decisions, but you better be right. Guess what? You picking. You want to say he had the balls to do it. He picked Mitch. The dude over there beat Alabama in the national title game like a month before. You better be right. And he wasn't right. And guess what? When you're wrong at that degree, you don't have a job as a GM no more. Now it's on Ryan Poles to come in and say, hey, listen, I've made these decisions. I've made these moves. We're going offense over defense. I think we got the right coach in the building. I think that we've got the right OC in the building. Now I have to go out here and make these draft picks. Now I have to go out here and sign these players to accentuate what we have on the field already. And I like that we're at week 9. And it feels like that he's kind of done that already. That's what gives me a little bit of hope. But then again, right, like, You drafted Velus Jones in the 3rd round, and there's definitely better players that went after him. So, like, you muted yourself, kid.
He has some misses, and I think the one thing about it is, and this is kind of like relating it to the Bulls that I'm wearing. You know, just because you've had success in the past doesn't mean that you can walk into this organization, everything you touch turns to gold.
Yeah.
And so now, hey, you chose Patrick Williams at 4. You better be right.
You better be right.
And maybe he is, maybe he ain't. Cool. But how do you pivot from it? And I think, you know, using that as an analogy, he's had success in the rest of the draft that we can sit there and be like, all right, you missed here, but look at what else we got.
And you've made up for it. Yeah,
you made up for it. And look at what you brought to the team. Look at what you've done. Now we are a more competitive team. So now it's like, hey, no, there's no perfect GM. There's no perfect GM.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, my last point on that, like, I don't even think, like with that money and what you were saying earlier, kid, about like there's some disgruntled wide receivers that you could put next to Darnell Mooney and
that's what you're always looking for.
You talk about, I mean, D Hop was in the mix late. That they're talking about trading him. Arizona's there.
You need for that.
Brandon Cooks was just trying to leave.
Cooks,
we know that's a 1,000-yard receiver pretty much wherever he goes.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you got the money
at one point.
This like Ryan Paul, like, the Bears are about to be on the map next season.
Oh, we're on the
map. Like
for sure.
Once this hits, like, and he gets everybody in the room, everybody's gonna be lining up at the door. Hey, I'm trying to play with Justin. I'm trying to get with this running game, and then so on and so forth. If you build it, they will come. Like,
okay, all right. Hey, we got our Field of Dreams references out here.
Come on now.
Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Let's close out with this real quick, man. Just a quick topic, because we've talked about Bears all day, right? But we got another Chicago team that actually got a win last night. By the way, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. We did have a team get a win here last night. The Bulls splitting with the Toronto Raptors early in the season looked much better last night, and I think the question that I asked on Locked On Bulls last night, and that I want to ask on here, is, are the Chicago Bulls, to you, does it look like they're struggling, or does it look like they learned from last season that the beginning of the season is what it is? Get to where you need to get.
I tell you what, I think that we're struggling simply because we don't have consistency with our star players playing. And it's hard to build chemistry. It's hard to get into a flow when you have people in and out of the lineup. Now, I'm not sitting there trying to trash him for being hurt or them trying to, manage that so that he is healthy long term. But it matters. It does matter. No matter what it is, it matters. So, he's going to be street clothes at some point. Then when he comes in, I need him to be on point. And sometimes he is. So far, sometimes he's not. Now, I'm expecting that to change, but, that's just the reality of it. And then also, too, we have a very good problem. We have a problem with, we have a all-star guard or all-star potential guard who's coming back from injury in about 6 weeks. Yeah. What happens when he hits the lineup? Because I don't care what anybody says. I'm not benching Ayo. That would make no sense for me.
Ayo's come back a little bit to earth these last couple of weeks. I wouldn't bench him right away.
I wouldn't bench Ayo.
Lonzo would have to show me that he's 100% healthy, he's ready to go, and that he's able to come out there for a few games and be the Lonzo Ball that we thought we gave $80 million.
Only thing that he does better than Ayo at this point is shoot from the corner.
Facilitate. He's a better facilitator.
I mean, that's not from the corner. That's everywhere, though.
Yeah,
I get you.
Lonzo shoots 40% from all the way around.
No, I get you, and I'm not. But I'm saying, like, when you look at where Lonzo is in his career versus where Ayo is in his career, year 2, you would have picked Ayo over Lonzo. I would have. Go back and look at it. I would have picked him.
Year 2, Lonzo had LeBron come in there, didn't he?
Year 1, I would have
I
picked
believe
Ayo
so.
over. Year 1, I would pick Ayo over Lonzo. Like,
Year 1, I would have picked Ayo over Lonzo because Lonzo couldn't shoot.
Yeah, so it's like you have a really interesting thing where it's like, hey, how do you work that in? How is Billy going to manage that? Like, there's a lot of question marks in regards to that.
Yeah.
Does DeMar come back to earth? Like, DeMar's had a phenomenal season, but that's not the DeMar that we know. We know the 20 to 22 point a game DeMar. We don't know 28, 30 point a game DeMar. That's not who he's been consistently his career. It's just not.
So
he's been that dude at points in Toronto, but I think he also didn't have to be.
If he was, he would have beat LeBron.
No. LeBron
no, bro. No, bro.
LeBron shut him down.
Toronto,
2016 Bron.
2016
Bron.
Toronto was the better team. The thing is mental.
Bron.
They collapsed.
Yo, 2016
Yeah, no.
Bron was Thanos.
Bron shut him down.
I don't care what version of LeBron it was. LeBron ain't beating 5 solid people. He never had.
He did.
Mentally.
He did
mentally. In 2016, right? I mean, 2016 was different though. I don't use 2016, but 2018, like the 2017.
Bro, he beat that. He smoked them out 4 times straight, bro.
Bro, I'm just saying, like, he had help. It's not like LeBron did. I mean, he still had Kyrie averaging 20, Kevin Love averaging like 15. Like, he had a team. Like,
yeah, but Toronto's team was definitely better.
Bro,
Toronto was better.
But
you needed one person to step up.
But
he didn't step up. So I'm not saying that this is what he's. But I'm just saying, like, does he come back down to earth? Because he's never been heralded as the best shooting guard in the league, and we just had a season where he was heralded as a top 3 shooting guard in the league.
But you know what? I think.
Do we continue that?
The difference is, right, last season when you saw DeMar in the game, it was because he had no option, right? Like, we saw DeMar score at that rate. Not to say that he never could, but DeMar's always had help. Outside of maybe San Antonio, and DeMar was scoring really well in San Antonio, with just nobody paid attention to it. But DeMar's always had help. DeMar's always had somebody else that could score the basketball. He's always had somebody he could kick it to. He didn't have that last season. Everyone else was dead. Like, the whole team was dead, and Alex Caruso can't shoot. So
when are we gonna have that conversation?
He shoot when he
Alex
shoot
Caruso
when he needs.
Was looking like trash out there outside of getting these, feisty steals, but like. He's averaging just as many turnovers as steals, so it's like
that's what he's here for, though. Like, I'm not tripping on Alex Caruso for not knocking. I'm tripping on Alex Caruso for taking 11 shots. I'm not tripping on Alex Caruso for missing shots. I don't want Alex Caruso shooting the ball that often. I want him to
let your double machine be a double machine.
Yeah, I mean, even with Derrick Jones, like, he's a solid defender. He can't really shoot. I told, like, it is what it is. With some of the guys, but I mean, to me, I honestly believe, especially with Lonzo coming back at some point in the season, I think AK is looking at it like they need. I mean, even Kobe as well, AJ.
We don't even mention Kobe White anymore.
I think that they are in a state where it's just like. We got a good enough team. Like, DeMar's gonna do what he's gonna do. I think there's still a little bit of a question of what is Zach going to do later in the season. But I mean, the Bulls have one of the top benches in the league. I mean, you looked at it last night. The bench pretty much
top 3.
I mean, I know Zach had 30, but the bench pretty much got them back into that game.
Yeah.
I mean, Dragic, you can make an argument that, bro, he's still a starter right now. With the way that he's been playing. So
yeah,
like Kia said, good problems. You get him back, you get Lonzo back. Like those 3 guards, even with Caruso on the bench, that's interchangeable. I think this is just an ebb and flow type thing that's going on. Right now, because you're forgetting that they're missing Drummond as well.
Yeah, no, I think that
that's true.
I think that the thing is too, right, and I think Vooch's play being down as of late is going into Andre Drummond not being out there, right? Like I told y'all, that makes a huge when you can forget that your center's on the bench and then be like, oh yeah, Vooch, get back in there. That makes a huge difference. Like you're talking about 10, 15 actual minutes, not game minutes in a row that Vooch can just sit there and rest and come back in and be fresh and kill you. I think that's going to be an asset for the Bulls. Patrick Williams starting to play better. I think that's going to be an asset for the Bulls going through the rest of the season.
I don't know who put the battery in his back, but I'm happy. I'll be the first one to say it. When Kobe White was playing bad, I said he was playing bad. When I said he didn't have it, he didn't have it. You kind of see how that played out. But when Kobe put together a stretch where I was like, all right, maybe he's changing the narrative on his career, I was very supportive of it because I don't want to see these players not do well. These people who have the opportunity to live out their dream, how could you be mad or hate at that or hate on that? Like these are young people who wanted to chase that. They have the opportunity. I want you to succeed and do well. P. Will, the hate comes because he was drafted so high.
Yeah.
And it's not even hate, it's criticism. You were being very passive. Like, I didn't even know you could jump that high. You want to know why I didn't know you could jump that high? Because I never seen you until this season jump that high.
Nah, he jumped that high when he broke his wrist.
I saw that, when he broke his wrist.
Yeah,
and
listen,
because Buddy pulled him down. But no, I saw that when
you saw
when
one or two games. He was like, "Dang, you got up there," and then you never saw it again.
I saw that when DeAndre Ayton tried to put it down on his head, and he was like, "Nah, bro, we ain't doing that over here."
But yeah, you saw it defensively. But now I'm seeing like, oh, you could sit there and do a drop step and rise up like that. Like I wasn't.
I'm telling you, I think it was DeMar because later on down the line, like this team's gonna need P. Will in some form or fashion. Like
and I think the thing is with the Bulls, right? Like, and that's why I think right early in the season, I wouldn't say that they're struggling. To me, it just looked like they pacing themselves and they're seeing what teams are gonna throw against them. Right, like the first game versus that weird double team that Toronto ran, it didn't look good. You also didn't have Zach LaVine out there. You also didn't have Andre Drummond, Kobe White, right? Like all of those guys. But it didn't look good. The second game against it, and I don't want to hear nobody, oh, it's the second of a back-to-back. We didn't have Siakam because you beat us with it the night before. I saw that in the chat last night. Mus was like, well, it's the second of a back-to-back. It's like, for us too. We played you. But it just
that's not an excuse when most of the back-to-backs we have, that other team had a back-to-back as well. That's the one thing that's done. They did right on this schedule. Most of our back-to-backs, the other team has a back-to-back.
No. Most of our back-to-backs, the Bulls have less rest than the team coming in.
It's like
there's only 3 times in our back-to-backs that the Bulls have more rest than the team coming in, and we just played 2 of them. We played Brooklyn off a back-to-back, and we played Toronto off a back-to-back. We got 1 more left, I think. But the thing is, right, the schedule now is opening up a little bit more, so we're not going to have as many back-to-backs. No, I was talking about from Toronto fans. They was complaining that the reason the Bulls beat us is because we played last night. Like, we played y'all. Like, you can't use that as an excuse. We played last night too, but I think for me, right, when I look at this Bulls team, it doesn't look like just from a team standpoint. It's like we were just talking about with the Bears all day. It looks like from an organizational standpoint. Like AK was like, I don't care what we do at this point. Tread water, keep going, win games. Don't start off 0-12, but like be smart about this. Because when it matters is when we get to the All-Star break and after that. And it seems like the Bulls seemingly understand that now. Well, last season, right, the Bulls came out trying to prove to everybody, oh, we got the worst free agent signing. Lonzo Ball's going to be a bad signing. This is going to be bad. We're going to suck. We're going to be the 12th team. We're going to prove all of y'all wrong. And they came out to start the season, and they were like, hey, they're on fire. But no one else cared yet.
Can I give you one hot take, though? I don't know if it's as much as a hot take. I think we've already said it. Billy Donovan is Mark Jackson. In the sense of he's the right coach.
What'd you say, bro? I heard that.
The analogy is he's Mark Jackson. He's the right coach to get a young, scrappy team.
Yeah. I
can believe that. Things of that nature. But we are not going to win a championship with Billy Donovan. Simply because I don't know exactly what it is, but you can see the clear difference between a championship level coach and one who can consistently just manage a team. And Billy Donovan does a great job managing a team. I don't think he's going to be the person that gets us over the hump full of a Bucks, Celtics, or Warriors in the finals. I just don't think he's that person.
I think that depends on what player it becomes, because I'll throw this back at you.
With our current roster,
Well,
I don't think he's that person.
I'm not saying I don't think we win an NBA championship this year anyway, but I think that it depends on what the player becomes, right? Because I'll say this, Mike Budenholzer isn't a good head coach. His defensive schemes are awful.
That I would disagree with.
His defensive schemes are awful. They make no sense for the modern NBA. They don't even look like they should work. But you know what the difference is? Giannis is arguably the best player in the NBA.
Giannis.
Here's the thing.
The Bucks is a long team.
I'll ask you this. I'll ask you this. Versus a lot of the coaches, right? And this is why I kind of say, right, like the NBA, is probably the hardest league to win in, outside of
NHL,
maybe the NHL, because you legit just have to have a superstar no matter what. Is Mike Budenholzer a better coach than Nick Nurse?
No, because Nick Nurse actually has a plan every game.
Nick Nurse is
like Nick Nurse adjusts in game.
So Nick Nurse is Billy Donovan.
No.
Hear me out.
Because Nick Nurse.
Time out. Hear me out. Nick Nurse only got to the finals because of what? At the time, he had a what?
Kawhi being on the team. Yeah, Kawhi being on the team.
He had Kawhi.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he develops talent. He can coach a very team-oriented game. Everyone's going to get touches. Everyone's going to be a threat. That is a good head coach. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
He's Billy Donovan.
Okay, I'm fine with that. But here's what I'm saying. Mike Budenholzer ain't that.
I don't agree with that.
Mike Budenholzer's schemes are literally
it's literally pack the paint.
And on the defensive end, it's Giannis.
I disagree with that for one reason. When you have such an outstanding talent like Giannis, who's also very limited offensively, he had to coach him to a certain, like Jason Kidd had Giannis. I would say Jason Kidd is a better coach.
Didn't have this Giannis.
Yeah, he didn't have this Giannis. But you look at how Jason Kidd tried to play him. You look at that. You look at the coaches before you get to Mike. Look at how they tried to do it. Now, Giannis owned his career and became the player he is. We have to give him that. But certain coaches put him in a position to do what he does best. If he was still under Jason Kidd, he'd be running point right now.
I mean, he is.
That's how he ran him.
He still is running point.
No. Now, here's the thing. They got a point guard. Who's a point guard? He should have been DPOY.
Yeah, Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday.
I don't know about that.
Drew Holiday is one of the best. Drew Holiday is one of the best on-ball defenders in the league.
No,
every year.
I give you that, bro. But you're not getting DPOY over a dude that's getting 4 blocks a game.
No. Let's compare to the people on his team. Great. But if you look at his size, who he sticks, you can put Drew Holiday on anyone 1 through 3, and he competes.
Yeah.
And he does a really good job. Really good job. It's amazing what he can do with his size, his body, his positioning. Like going back and just looking at it, I'm like, how the heck is he sticking someone 6'8" and he's 6'2"?
6'4". Drew Holiday like 6'4".
He's small. He's one of the smallest people on their lineup, and it's noticeable. Like he does a really good job. They made changes, but like your coach has to be able to scheme and coach to that. He fits that system. He fits that team. He's the right coach for the Bucks, and that's okay.
Drew Holiday 6'5".
That dude is a short 6'5". Dog, I don't know. I see him stand next to some people. I saw him stand next to Devin Booker. Devin Booker 6'6". Devin Booker got like a whole head over that man.
I just going off of Google. Hey, listen, I don't know. I ain't saying
NBA give you 2 inches, take away 2 inches. It means a lot in some cases, not there. Anyway, but no, like he's a good coach.
Throw a flag on play.
A couple of flags. I mean, take the hat off. I don't know what I just did. I don't know what I just did. Pause. Whatever.
DeMond said Holiday is a stout 6'5".
The point of the matter is like, he's the best coach for them. I don't think you get the championship run that they had without Mike Budenholzer as the coach. I don't think Nick Nurse could have came in and did better. I think it's all about the persona and things like of that nature. That's what I think. Like that's how I feel about it. Billy Donovan for us, like I don't know who the next coach would be, but I think if Ime Udoka coached the Bulls, we'd be better. just how he managed the Celtics and how we're built and how they're built. If Ime Udoka walked into the Bulls locker room, we'd be a better team.
Well, Udoka adjusts, so
I mean, I
Udoka what?
think he said
Udoka
Udoka adjust.
adjusts.
I think
sure.
the
He
thing with
adjusts.
Now
with
Billy
Billy
does
Donovan,
adjust, but Billy's better at
Billy
developing.
does
Yeah, but
adjust.
I think it's a little late, which is the problem that some people have. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
He lets the players try and figure it out on their own, and in the long run, right? In theory, that would work. The thing is that, when you don't have that superstar, sometimes letting the players figure out what it is on their own doesn't work. Because that player's not a superstar to figure out, oh, hey, this is how they're running this. I'm going to kill you. So I think that that's kind of where the Bulls have had some struggles. But I look at this team, and I'll say this, right? And maybe this is just me being optimistic, man. And y'all know I was a big Billy Donovan detractor when he came in. I got to hope. I did not want Billy Donovan to be the head coach of my basketball team. But what I will say is this. Billy Donovan is coaching this team the way that he coached it last season. There's just players there for him to coach now. There are just players that are a part of this team that are there for him to coach now. And I think that makes the biggest difference moving forward. When you can say, hey, I need to bench DeMar for a couple of minutes so that he can get a breather, and I'm going to go into Goran Dragic, who comes in and gives you as much offensive output, that makes a difference. When you can say, I'm going to bench Vooch for a little bit so that he can get a breather because he's 33 years old and he needs to get some rest so he can finish this game out strong, and you can put in Andre Drummond for 20 minutes and he can be like, hey, listen, I'm going to go out here, give you 10 and 10 in the first 4 of this, and then I'm going to just play really good defense the rest of the way. That makes a big difference. I think that's the difference with Billy Donovan. And there's a lot of times when people just don't pay attention to the adjustments that Billy makes because they don't work, right? Like the players have to be held accountable for what the adjustment is. I said in that first game versus Toronto, in that double team, Billy didn't adjust. He didn't do anything to negate that double team. Yeah, he did, but I see Dalen Terry not coming off of that screen hard enough to get open, or I see DJJ not cutting hard enough to the bucket to find for DeMar DeRozan to pass to for him to get open. Guess what? Nothing changed in the second game. Nothing. They ran the same schemes. They ran the same to get off of that double team. They ran the same stuff. Why did it work? Because they ran harder. You got out hustled in one game, and you didn't get out hustled in the other. So I think that there's parts where you definitely can put it on Billy Donovan. I think there's parts where, to me, right, with certain teams, right, if you have Kevin Durant, yeah. Take your time. Let him adjust when he can. He'll figure it out. He's Kevin freaking Durant. We got that. If you got Patrick Williams, you might want to call a time out there and have some conversations with him. So
I use a professional analogy with it. When you're running an organization, you go through, like I'm in line for VP of sales.
Big money.
A lot of stress. And it's a blessed opportunity, but it's a lot of stress. An organization will go through 3 or 4 VP of sales before they actually make the leap.
Yeah.
And the one thing that you'll see is each VP of sales leads their sales team to a certain benchmark, and then now they plateau. You get to a certain benchmark, then you plateau. Just because we've been in, like, I hate to use this phrase, but it resonates. We've been in coaching purgatory for so long with Fred Hoiberg and all those things. Just because we're better doesn't mean that we have championship aspirations. And the one thing that's very, the one resounding fact that we all keep saying is we're not a championship team, but we're better. And it's like
somebody's got to take a step.
Someone has to take a step.
I'll say this: no matter who the coach is. You could put Phil Jackson on this team. You're not a championship team. Steve Kerr could coach this Bulls team right now. They're not a championship team.
I think a different coach with a stronger voice utilizes the talent that he has differently, and then that's when the leap happens.
I mean, I'm with you, but like I think that, right, like
I don't totally agree on that.
History would tell you that.
Do you think Doc is the best coach for Philly?
No. I think
no, but I think that's just that's not gonna change because that's James.
Doc has been. I mean, Philly has been top of the East last couple of years.
But
Do
here's
you
the
think
thing,
Doc
too,
is going
right?
to get them to the championship? I don't think so.
Here's the thing, too. I don't think there is a best coach for Philly right now because James Harden is on that team. James Harden, there is a clear.
I think Mike D'Antoni leading that charge would be.
Because here's the thing. There's a clear distinction that James Harden is the focal point of that team now. Why? When you watch Philly games, James Harden is
so high.
James Harden is the point guard. He's the one that's got the ball in his hands. He's the one taking the shot first. He's the one deciding when Joel Embiid gets the ball. That's stupid. You want to know how the Houston Rockets won an NBA championship? They said, get the ball to Hakeem. We're going to run this system around him. But the system is Hakeem. You want to know how the Bulls won 6 NBA championships? They said, get the ball to Mike. We're going to run this triangle offense. It looks great. But if it don't work,
get the
ball to Mike.
People, what you just said, right? And I agree with you. I agree. For how our team is constructed and for what we've had, we should be playing inside out. Because our most consistent player
is Vooch.
Is still Vooch.
Yeah, but
you can hate Vooch, right? You can say trade Vooch. Vooch with limited touches gets me 15 and 10. When we get him enough touches, he can lead us in scoring. He's at least top 2 in scoring. He has more rebounds, and he's a better 3-point shooter than we're giving him credit for. I play inside out with Vooch.
No, but and I'm with you, right? But like, here's the thing: it don't matter. Vooch ain't a superstar. Zach ain't a superstar. DeMar ain't a superstar. They're star players. They're really good. They top players in the NBA, but they're not superstars. They don't get you to that next level. You need a superstar, no matter what. Like, you're not going to win an NBA.
Kobe needed a presence.
Guess what? There is Steve Kerr doesn't come in and win all the championships that he's won if Stephen Curry's not on that team.
Oh, for sure. No,
you know what I mean? No matter what coach we take, guess what? Greg Popovich is an amazing coach. He's got this team playing decent. But Greg Popovich don't win them championships if he ain't got David Robinson and Tim Duncan, and then Tim Duncan and Tony Barker. Like, no matter what we want to say, the NBA is such a superstar-driven league, and that's why you have to just find that guy. If you don't find that guy, I don't care who the coach is. You'll be competitive the entire time. You might get to a finals. Heck, the Eric Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler got to an NBA finals. How the heck they get there? Nobody knows. They got to an ECF.
I think that has proven true up until this point of parity in the league. We have more all-star talent now, and just how the game is played now. Not to say that these people are better, but how the game is played, how it's officiated. We have more parity now than we've ever had. So now it's more along the lines of the best team with all-star talent could win. Because you can't tell me that the Warriors, as constructed, have a bunch of supers. They have Steph Curry, and they're figuring out the rest. And that's what they had last season. They had Steph Curry figuring out the rest.
Curry and a bunch of stars.
And you know what? If Boston didn't have a mental collapse, that was theirs to lose. That was theirs to lose. I don't care what nobody say. That was there. I was worried that entire time. I don't care what nobody say. I was worried.
I wasn't worried because I knew they didn't have a superstar.
That was the Steph Curry Invitational.
And that's why I was worried until I saw Steph say, "Oh, y'all gonna play that little beat it up game on me? You gonna let Marcus Smart try to bang into me? Guess what? I'm still gonna drop."
It was Draymond Green. Draymond Green with those antics and how those boys back down. The moment he got into their head, I was like, now that's the time.
Well, I think
I would have let Steph go off for 50 every game, shut everybody down. But the fact that you let him get in your head like that, that's when the turning point is.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? And at the end of the day, and this is the thing that the Bulls that I think, right, like that's the part they got to get to is
we don't have that dog.
When you try to shut everybody down, right? You couldn't shut down everybody, but when you try to shut down as many people as you can, what's the piece that still remains that's going to kill you no matter what? Is that better than their piece that still remains is going to kill you no matter what? Jason Tatum wasn't killing you in the finals. Now it's Jaylen Brown versus Stephen Curry. Who y'all picking? Because Al Horford had his game.
And that's the game they got. And blew that kiss, and after that, it was a wrap.
Al Horford had his game, and that's the game where it was like, man, they look like they could run you out the building. You need those extra pieces to make those plays, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what's your superstar going to do because he's got the ball in his hand at the end of the game. And Jason Tatum wasn't a superstar in the finals. Jason Tatum was deferring to Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown was cooking. And now it's Jaylen Brown versus Stephen Curry. And Stephen Curry's going to win the Jason Tatum matchup 6 out of 10 times right now. Jason Tatum's working his way up. Stephen Curry's going to win the Jaylen Brown matchup 10 out of 10 times.
If someone can go fact check me, if Jason Tatum shot 15% better in that series,
they win.
They win.
They win.
That's the crazy part. He was just off.
I think the most slept on stat.
Andrew Wiggins was doing real good.
I think the most slept on stat that nobody realizes, he had 100 turnovers that postseason.
Jesus Christ.
For sure.
100. That's the most slept on stat.
I never seen that stat. I'd have been murdering him this whole time if I had seen that stat. Jesus.
You saved that for the right time, huh?
Hey, bro, as we getting out of here. He had 100 turnovers. Good Lord.
That was honestly the Steph Curry Invitational. But to wrap it up though, like,
yeah, I got to jump.
You said that they don't got that dog. At some point, Zach is gonna have to be that. Zach is gonna have to be that, and that's the we could talk P. Will, we could talk Io, we could talk Vooch, all you want to, we could talk that all day. Zach got to be that dude.
Zach's got to be that dude unless another dude
that type of money
up.
that you got, like you said, I'm using your. It come with a certain type of expectation.
Oh yeah,
you got to do that.
Oh yeah,
you do.
You got to do that. He got to be that dog.
He does because he's the guy. He's the guy that got the money. That money does come with the expectation.
The two biggest things that are either going to happen for us: we're either going to make a major trade that involves P. Will because of how he's increased his trade value, or we're going to see a coaching change, and it's not going to be because we suck. I mean, look at what Toronto did. They fired somebody who got them to the ECF several times, and then the next year, with favorable circumstances.
Now, granted, right? Like,
right?
You want to talk about a shot to the groin?
I mean, but look, it's not opposed to a team firing a successful head coach to get to the next level, and so that's what I'll take. Like, we are in a better position than we've been in a long time.
I can see that,
but there's still a ways to go, and so I'm happy with where we are. But I know we got to wrap up. I have to jump. It's been a pleasure, fellas.
I think it's the same as with the Bears, right? Like, it's the same as you. I'm fine with you making that decision. Don't mess up.
For sure.
Don't pick somebody worse than Billy Donovan. But hey, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer, joined by the pettiest man alive, who was just in here dipping out. And of course, Stefan the Don. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love for another episode. We gave y'all an extra 30 minutes on today's episode because we was just running our mouths and don't know when to be quiet. Hey, man, that's what we do out here, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love. This will be live on the podcast side as well. And make sure that you are tuned in over on the on the YouTube, because we'll have more content dropping today as well. So stay tuned with all of that. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago sports content. Click the links on the screen and check the links in the description below. Joined by the man Stefan the Don. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.